Thank you everyone for joining in for the KASHISH 2020 virtual panel discussion about parental acceptance. Sweekar, the Rainbow Parents, is a group which is founded by the parents and managed by the parents. So we are in chat with them and also with Aruna Rao from New Jersey. So to have a chat about this particular panel, I'm going to invite Harish Iyer, a well-known equal rights activist, to take charge of the panel.
Thank you so much, Sridhar. I think it's extremely important. Parental acceptance is incredibly important for a child. And more than parental acceptance, self-acceptance is important. And before when a parent accepts their child, it gets easier for the child to accept themselves. And that's precisely the crux of the topic that we're going to discuss right now. And we have a wonderful panel right here. But before that, I just wanted to speak about Sweekar. Sweekar is a group by parents, for parents. There are, so this Sweekar was started when Sridhar had made a film called The Evening Shadows, and there was some amount of Evening Shadows that was kept aside for Sweekar. So it was initiated. So the only two non-parent people in Sweekar who are not part of Sweekar, but at least somewhere peripherally we are involved is Sridhar and me and Sagar. And apart from us, it's a parent group which is by the parents and for the parents. So now coming to the parents today, this is going to be facilitated by Nilakshi Roy. Dr. Nilakshi Roy is a professor, and I would ask her to introduce herself, and then I would go to every other panelist and ask them to introduce.
Thank you for that wonderful and very warm introduction about Sweekar, Harish. I'm very happy to share that I am one of the earlier, though not the founding member of Sweekar. I joined in 2017. I am the mother of Konika Roy. We are from Mumbai. She is bisexual and she has worked in the activism space for quite some time. Earlier, she was with Humsafar Trust and now she's working with Godrej. And she continues to still engage with, LGBTQIA activities and in her own ambit of work. I'm very happy about that as well. That's about it. I work in a college in Mumbai, in Mulund. It is called Kelkar College, and I teach undergraduates and postgraduates. I've been teaching for the past 32 years.
Thank you so much. Now let's start with someone who is the farthest right now. Let's go on to Aruna Rao, and could you please introduce yourself?
Sure. So my pronouns are she and her. And I am the mother of a trans-masculine child who also identifies as queer. So I live in New Jersey, which is why Harish said I'm the farthest of everybody. And so I've been in the United States now for about 30 years. And my child was born and raised here. And one of the things that I am really heavily involved in is working with our immigrant Indian American and South Asian communities. Because based on my experience, I consider myself fairly privileged. I had access to a lot of resources when my kid came out, but I struggled. I found it so hard to accept my child, to gain acceptance from my extended family, from my community. And still it is, even years later, it's still a struggle. So if it is so hard for me, I can just imagine how hard it is for everybody else. So while we have a lot of resources in the United States for families with LGBTQ children, there's nothing that specifically targets our community, the Indian American and the South Asian communities. So that's what I'm involved in doing. I founded an organization called Desi Rainbow Parents and Allies. And we work with our community, with parents and with LGBTQ people. And I consider myself an honorary member of Sweekar because first of all, you do such amazing work and I'm modeling a lot of the work that I do based on what you do. And the other thing is I have an audience, or at least like people who I work with who are Indians living in the United States whose parents are still in India. So I feel this is a very important connection for us, not just because of my own, connection to India, but also because of these people.
Thank you so much. And my pronouns are he and him, and Nilakshi Roy's pronouns are she and her.
And her as well.
Thanks for reminding us to share our pronouns as well. Then now we have someone from Hyderabad, Mala Mukunda. Could you please introduce yourself?
I am Mukunda Mala from Hyderabad, proud mother of trans women. I am also socialist, retired MNC employee.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We also have Aruna Desai over here. And Aruna auntie, could you introduce yourself, please?
Hi, I'm Aruna Desai, proud mother of Abhishek Desai. He identifies himself as gay. I work as HR head and system administrator. And since Abhishek came out, I have been working for the community, not only parents and for the children.
Thank you. Thank you so much, auntie. We have Supriya Gosavi, who is here as well. आप खुद को इंट्रोड्यूस कर सकते हैं अभी? आप बताइए आप कहाँ से हैं और क्या?
मैं सुप्रिया गोसावी, ट्रांस वुमन निष्ठा। मैं मुंबई से हूँ और मैं इंश्योरेंस कंपनी में हूँ।
बहुत शुक्रिया। And we have all parents, but we have most of them are mothers, and there's one father over here. Rakesh uncle, could you please introduce yourself?
I'm Rakesh. My preferred pronouns are he and him. I'm a proud father of Riya Sharma. Riya identifies as lesbian and gender fluid. I'm, besides being a father of Riya Sharma, I'm also of the Jimmy Foundation for Equality. It's an NGO that works towards creating an egalitarian society. And besides that, I'm also a founder of a company, one of the leading companies offering genetic testing services in India called Lilac Insights.
Thank you. Thank you so much, uncle. Over to you, Nilakshi auntie.
तो पहला क्वेश्चन मैं आपको करती हूँ सुप्रिया, जब आपका बच्चा मतलब क्लोजेट से बाहर आया था, तब आपका ये जो चैलेंज था, जो एक सामने एक चैलेंज उभर के आया, इसको आपने कैसे स्वीकार किया, कैसे इसको आपने माना?
जब भी मेरे को निष्ठा ने बोला कि मम्मा मेरा थोड़ा प्रॉब्लम है, मेरे को मीन्स डॉक्टर की ज़रूरत है, तो मैंने बोला क्या है, तो वो बोली नहीं ऐसा ऐसा है मम्मा करके। तो मैंने बोली ठीक है, थोड़ा मेरे को वो बोलते ना, थोड़ा मेरे को ऐसा तकलीफ हुआ वो जब भी मैंने सुना ना उसके मुंह से, तो भी बहुत तकलीफ हुई, क्योंकि मैं किसको बोल सकूँ कि ऐसा ये सिचुएशन है मेरे साथ। तो मैं बोली ठीक है करके, थोड़ा मेरे को माइंड भी मेरा थोड़ा अपसेट हुआ था, क्या करूँ, कैसा करूँ और कैसी बात करूँ इसे। तो थोड़ा डिफिकल्ट था मेरे लिए। मैंने बोला ठीक है, अभी क्या है वो कुछ मैं उसको किधर छोड़ नहीं सकती, मेरे को वो उसको अपनाना था। तो मैं बोली ठीक है करके, थोड़ा बाद में मेरे को निष्ठा ने बोला कि मम्मा मैं एक तेरे को बोल देती हूँ, ऐसा ऐसा एक ग्रुप है स्वीकार ग्रुप करके, उधर तेरे को थोड़ा मीन्स बहुत सारा बोलते ना बहुत जानकारी मिलेगी कैसा है क्या है वो।
धन्यवाद। आपने आपकी सारी जो आपकी जो अनुभव रहा और जो मुश्किलें आप पर आ पड़ी, तो आपने ये हमारे साथ शेयर किया, तो इसके लिए बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। अब मैं सेम प्रश्न मैं अरुणा से पूछना चाहती हूँ। अरुणा राव, हाउ इज इट दैट you came to accept your child the way they are, and what were your challenges in accepting, if any?
Thank you. So I actually had the process where I had to accept in stages. So when my child first came out to me, they came out as queer, as gay. So that was one step, and they were still at that point in high school. And I was surprised at my own reaction. I considered myself fairly liberal. I knew of the LGBTQ community, but I really had no personal connections at all with LGBTQ people. So that accepting my child's sexual orientation took a long time. And also particularly because, they were very frightened of revealing it to anybody else. So I was the only one who could have the secret. I couldn't tell, for instance, even my husband. And so that was a hard process because I felt very lonely, very isolated, and unable to share information with anybody. So this was it was a time for me to like really reflect on my own attitudes and feelings, and also to try and educate myself a lot. So what happened after that was basically once my child was ready to come out to other people in the family, it got a lot easier because my husband, though, he's a typical Indian man, and, he had never, again, like me, but he had in his professional or personal life, he had never really had any LGBTQ friends. So my kid was very worried about his reaction, but he basically surprised all of us by saying, he loves you. He said, I love you. And whatever you have to teach me how to behave now, but I love you. And that's the bottom line. So that was a huge relief for us. Absolutely. So after that, things got a little bit easier, and I started getting involved with PFLAG. Now, PFLAG is it's a national organization here in the United States, and they are there precisely for people like us, for parents, for, families who are trying to figure out how to support their kid. So after my involvement with PFLAG, I got very educated. I had no idea what being transgender was. I mean, I knew vaguely from having grown up in India that, there's a hijab community, there is, gender fluidity, sort of vaguely, but I really didn't know any details. So when my child started socially transitioning in college, I actually saw what was happening because by then I had educated myself a lot. And so I was just able to directly reach out to him and say, like, is this how you're identifying now? And like many young people, he doesn't really want to sort of box himself in. He doesn't want to be like, I'm a trans man. He says that, he's trans masculine. He has medically transitioned at this point, but he still wants to use gender neutral terminology. He's okay with the pronoun he as well as they. So all of these things took a lot of getting used to, but I think really working at it every day really is the way that I have got where I have right now. And also surrounding myself with the LGBTQ community. They have been so warm and welcoming and loving. That has been a big, big help to me.
Thank you so much for sharing these very, very important details because, many of us know you, but we are not aware of the initial stages of your journey, which all of us think is a very, very important thing to remember because, we need to share this with other parents who find themselves in the same predicament initially. And you can't undermine the importance of that struggle, So, for example, I mean, I'm going to ask myself these questions sometimes. So let me take the liberty of talking about myself a bit. It was very similar to me, very educated, very, aware of what is going on, have been teaching about the LGBTQ community, have been asking other people to be tolerant and everything. But when it comes to you then begin with point zero, you think that you don't know anything about anything, and you want to know everything because, I mean, how are you then going to, stand by your child? So for me also, my daughter's lack of communication and her own journey of accepting herself stood between the way of our communication, because she was also finding out things about herself. And I was at the same time wanting to know more about her. Moreover, she was not with me. She was away from me. So many parents who may be listening may have this experience that the child is away from them. And then what does one do? So these are some of the early challenges. Sweekar came to my life, I think 2 to 2.5 years later, after she returned to India and she established contact with the community, Sweekar came to my life. But then from 2013 and 14, onwards, I was we were doing this alone, my husband and myself, with the help of counselors. So we did go to counselors in order to take some help. My older daughter is a doctor. She helped me, my family helped me. So for that, I'm grateful. But it was indeed a difficult and a slow start for me as well, for like you, Aruna, or aapke jaise, Supriya. So this was what had happened to me as well. For Supriya and Rakesh, I would like to know what was there, as a kind of a change moment or a moment of truth, or, did you change your thinking on your way towards acceptance? Was there any change in you which made you kind of look things in a new way, look at things in a new way, re-examine yourself and your maybe relationship with your child or the community or whatever. Was there anything like that which happened which changed you suddenly on your journey? Rakesh first. Uske baad Supriya.
So, Nilakshi, the moment of truth for me was the moment that Ria confided in me and Renu and came out. While our acceptance for Ria was immediate, but yes, we did not know anything about what LGBTQ is. And when she said that she identifies herself as lesbian, I mean, our acceptance for her was purely out of love that a parent has for a child, and which was unconditional. So therefore, we told her that it doesn't really matter to us with what's your sexual orientation or whether you are gender fluid. For us, what matters is you're turning out to be a good human being, and that's what we always wanted you to be. So, but then that was what a parent naturally would have, a feeling of love, unconditional love that the parent would have to the child. But yes, it was a moment of truth because, I mean, internally, both me and Renu, we felt that this is the time, this is a challenge, this is a time that Ria has, in some way thrown a challenge to us. It's where something that's unconventional, we have to deal with, an unconventional situation and, kind of either prove ourselves to be worth the title of good parents that we had, that she had bestowed to us, or turn out to be parents who are like who have rejected the child just for the sake of what the society would think about. So I think that was really a moment of truth for us. And after that, as Nilakshi, you said that it happens with all parents. That's when they realize that. That, I mean, if they have to really be a support system for the child, which is what the children look up to, they have to know more about the about the sensitivities of that the child goes through, and that's when we start educating ourselves. So for me also, there has been, for me as well as Renu, my wife, it's been like a transformation since the day Ria came out to now. We started reading books, we started watching movies purely to understand what LGBTQ means, and to be able to kind of be more sensitive to our daughter when she speaks to us about herself and her friends. And followed with that, we attended a Pride, and honestly, the Pride that we attended, the first Pride that we attended, I think it was in 2019, was purely out of an act of solidarity to our daughter, that a daughter ko, bachchi ko acha lagna chahiye ki hum uske saath khade hain. Then that was the only reason we attended Pride. Otherwise, we actually had no idea about, this Pride marches and all. And it wasn't, and I think, like Ria coming out was a change moment for us. Similarly, attending Pride was a change moment for us. And it was in Pride that we met Aruna Desai, Chitra, Padma, and a whole lot of other parents. And they got us introduced to Sweekar. We became a member of Sweekar. And in Sweekar, then we went through, like the other members of Sweekar, we went through the Prabal program, which kind of emboldened us, empowered us. And honestly, to me, then, the whole thought process was that agar Ria apni community ke liye itna kar rahi hai, to being a parent, it becomes, I mean, मुझे शर्मिंदा नहीं होना चाहिए उसके नजरों में, and जिसके लिए it is important for me also to do something that's within my scope of influence. And so that's when we started then kind of having transforming my organization into an inclusive organization, and changed the policies in the organization, made them gender affirmative, gender neutral policies, the infrastructure, and then kind of even recruitments. Then we started doing kind of include unbiased of gender, and then followed with that, then we said that yes, it is important that this movement has to go beyond the organization.
I will now turn to Supriya to continue with the question that आपने हमारे साथ ये शेयर किया कि आपको काफी मुश्किलात आई थी पहले, लेकिन बदलाव भी आया. तो ये बदलाव कैसे आया जो आपको अभी के सुप्रिया में बदल डाला है?
जब भी निष्ठा ने मेरे को उसके बारे में बोला था और वो ना सर्च कर रही थी, मीन्स किधर से तो बोलते ना अपने को एक कुछ तो रास्ता मिलना चाहिए, इसलिए वो सर्च कर रहे थे। तो स्वीकार ग्रुप का उसको एक आइडिया मिला, उसने मेरे को बोला कि मम्मा ऐसा ऐसा एक ग्रुप है स्वीकार करके और उनका मीटिंग्स रहता है, तो तू उधर जाके थोड़ा देख क्या है कैसा है, तेरे को आइडिया मिलेगी बहुत सारी। तो मैं उसके साथ हाँ बोला मैंने, फिर मेरा बोलते ना माइंड उस पर उधर जा नहीं रहा था, किधर तो बीच में थोड़ा गड़बड़ हो रहा था। फिर भी मैं एक हिम्मत रख के गई उधर स्वीकार ग्रुप में, सांता क्रूज में मैंने फर्स्ट विजिट मीटिंग किया था उधर जाके उनके साथ। तो मेरे को ठीक लगा। फिर मैं घर में आई और निष्ठा को बोली नहीं मेरे को ये अच्छा नहीं लगा। पहली बार आई घर में तो उसको बोला हाँ ठीक है करके ओके। बाद में मेरे को नहीं, मैं बोली नहीं नहीं मेरे को नहीं जमेगा ये कुछ। तो बाद में निष्ठा ने अरुणा ताई को फोन करके बोला कि मम्मी थोड़ी डिस्टर्ब है, उसको कुछ अच्छा नहीं लगा वो बोल रही है। तो अरुणा ताई ने मेरे को बहुत समझाने की कोशिश की, फिर भी नहीं मेरा माइंड नहीं उसके साथ मीन्स मैच नहीं हो रहा था। तो बाद में एक दिन निष्ठा बोली नहीं मम्मा देख ऐसा ऐसा है, तो कितना कुछ भी करेगी ना तो उसमें कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ने वाला, खाली फुकट तो डिप्रेशन में जाएगी और मेरा भी एक हालत अलग हो जाएगा। इसलिए तो थोड़ा और कोशिश कर, फिर वापस स्वीकार का जब भी मीटिंग रहेगा तू जा देख, अरुणा आंटी के साथ भी बात कर, वो तेरे को समझाएगी, तेरे को समझ लेना चाहिए क्या है कैसा है वो। तो मैं बोली ठीक है करके। बाद में मैंने 1-2-4 मीटिंग अटेंड किया। बाद में एक बार हम लोग प्राइड में गए, प्राइड में भी मेरे को थोड़ा फार मीन्स लगा कि हाँ ठीक है बराबर है, निष्ठा बोल रही है वो भी बराबर है। और मेरे को केम के डॉक्टर ने भी बोला था कि नहीं ऐसा ऐसा है करके आपको एक्सेप्ट करना पड़ेगा, ऐसा नहीं होता है क्योंकि आपका बच्चा है ना, तो आपको थोड़ा उसके साथ अच्छी तरह रहेंगे तो अच्छा हो जाएगा आगे जाके। तो ये सब मेरे माइंड में थोड़ा जाने के बाद मैं बोली हाँ ठीक है बराबर है, ये जो है वो कुछ गलत नहीं है, सच्चा है और उसको अपनाना ही चाहिए, उसको कुछ ढूंढ करके कुछ फायदा नहीं हो जाएगा, क्योंकि मैं भी डिस्टर्ब रहेगी वो भी डिस्टर्ब रहेगी तो वो नहीं हो जाएगा, उसको अपनाना ही जरूरत है ऐसा। और स्वीकार ग्रुप में मैं जाके बहुत मीन्स जो मेरे मन में डाउट्स थे ना वो क्लियर होने लगे।
बहुत अच्छा लगा आपका सब कहानी सुन के। लेकिन मुझे एक ऐसी धारणा हो रही है जिसके बारे में हम अभी तक शायद बात नहीं किए हैं कि आप एक सिंगल पेरेंट होने के नाते शायद ये आपको और भी कठिनाई का सामना अकेले करना पड़ा और उसमें आपको बहुत साथियों की जरूरत पड़ी जो कि शायद सब लोगों को नहीं पड़ता होगा। मतलब जैसे कि आप अकेले थे इसीलिए आपको जिन्होंने भी मदद किया आपने उनकी मदद ली और आपने उनके पास मतलब जाके बात की, ये भी बहुत बड़ी बात है। ये भी हमको करना चाहिए, अगर हम अकेले हैं तो ये भी हमको करना चाहिए। तो थैंक यू वेरी मच। what was very important for Supriya is therefore the doctor's intervention, then what her child kept on supporting her. The child should also be supportive, and you know that is a very interesting and important thing that we learn, that the child should be the first ally to the parent, especially the single parent, if he or she feels alone and has no one to turn to. So of course Sweekar came later, but the doctor and your child, they were your first point of contact. And I think that is immeasurable, that the kind of understanding they gave you, the kind of support they gave you, and patience and tolerance that they showed towards your slow acceptance of reality was, I think, very important. Yeah, so thank you very much for sharing this story. I would then like to ask Aruna Desai, why do you think it is important for the parents to accept their child as they are? You know, no questions asked and as they are. How does it configure in the child's mind when acceptance comes readily and without any hesitation whatsoever?
Yeah, you know, when a child realizes that they are from the community, like gay, lesbian, so they struggle a lot to accept themselves. So they are going through a lot. So it is really important for parents to, when they children try to come out to their parents support is really required. Because it not only affects their, if you don't support, it not only affects their mental health as well as physical health. And when you accept your child, I mean, if you don't accept your child, you are causing severe damage to their health, and they can go into depression, and they find it so lonely. Then they start thinking of committing suicide. So all that stuff, you know. So once they get the parental support, they can really grow. Their health, mentally, physically, health becomes a great. So parent support is really important for child, and also it is parents' responsibility always to give support. You know, for whatever reason, not only from LGBTQ. It's your responsibility, you know, to support your child.
So coming from a parent who had wholeheartedly accepted her child's being gay, when he slowly and gently tried to unfold his story to her, this is not surprising. I knew that, you know, I had to ask you this question because it was unconditional support that you have given not only your child, but every other child in the community for so long. So it is very important for us to remember this, that, you know, sometimes it may be difficult, and each of our journeys are different. You know, as parents, our journeys are different. But children who start with wholehearted acceptance from their parents, they are able to probably, you know, grow a little faster, a little sooner, a little more, you know, without any bias and with more confidence than those who, you know, have to balance that struggle. However, it's an individual's journey and it's an individual family's journey, but acceptance has to be there. Ultimately, wholehearted acceptance, and Sweekar is all about that. I was going to ask Harish the same question, if Harish would like to answer that. How important is acceptance to you? You work in this activism space so actively. So it's very important that I ask you, not as a parent, but as a Sweekar member, that how important is acceptance from a parent to a child, to an LGBTQ child?
I think ever since I, you know, when my mother accepted me, I think I just blossomed. I suddenly could see the world from a different light. I started doing well in my studies. I started doing well in my private life. For me, I didn't think at that time that it was something of that much importance. But over a period of time, when I look at the trajectory of how I was and how I am today, I think the acceptance of my mother and my extended family helped quite a lot.
Okay, I'm going to turn to something a little personal for some of you. What are your earliest memories of your child's moment of revelation? Who did you confide in? Did you feel confident to share it with anyone? Whom did you tell outside your family? Like, I'll tell you, for myself, I spoke to my sister first, you know, because I thought I could relate to her very well. Okay, so I did speak to someone outside in immediate family, and that was my sister, who's again family. And then I spoke to one friend in the college, just one friend, and I never spoke about this for a long, long time. So, you know, sometimes it happens, you don't like to talk about this, but then you do turn to someone or the other to share. So would you like to share that story? Say, would Aruna Rao like to share?
Yeah, so I think as I said earlier, so my kid, when they came out first, swore me to secrecy. You know, they said, you can't tell anybody. So that not telling anybody was the hardest part. And I haven't told my kid this, but the first person I did tell during that year that I was sworn to secrecy was my sister. Same to you, because, you know, I was very close to her, and, you know, I just wanted somebody else to hear those words, because I couldn't be the only one carrying this, you know, inside me. That was actually the first person, I guess, within my family. And then after that, I'm trying to recall, I think the first people who I actually was able to like speak to really openly, there's a mom at PFLAG New York City, who runs basically the Asian Pacific Islander group, which is what I joined when I first joined PFLAG. Her name is Clara Yoon, and she also has a transmasculine son. So she was the first person I have ever been able to say everything to. You know, my fears, my doubts, my you know, just my like, just like searching for answers. And I think, as Aruna Desai mentions, it's so important to have that that sense, like, you know, you're not alone in this process, that you're able to, like, you know, just move forward with the support of people behind you. And I have to really thank my PFLAG community. Nobody else, I think, at that point gave me unconditional acceptance.
You're very lucky to have had a supportive community to turn to, you know, the right people with the right attitude. Some of us struggled initially because we didn't have that, you know. So it's important for the children and the parents who are listening to remember that very often the parent is indeed alone, you know, during this time. And it's very important to mutually support each other, the parent and the child and the rest of the family. Rakesh, what was your experience in this regard? Did you speak to anyone? Did you think of stepping outside your family and sharing this with anyone at all, or whatever the reason?
So the first person outside the family or an extended family that I spoke to was my elder sister, and my business partners, because actually what happened was, when Ria came out to me, you know, it gave me a different identity, and the identity of a parent of a queer child. And I did not really want anyone who I was associated with to, you know, kind of be related to me or be associated with somebody who I am not. So therefore, I wanted to kind of come out to all those people around me. And so, as I said, that I came out to, the first person I came out to was my elder sister, who's, you know, 12 years elder to me, and my business partners. And I should say that I'm been extremely fortunate that my business partners, I have two of them in my company, and they have been such strong allies. I've been super fortunate in that regard. And then subsequently after that, I came out to the whole world.
Yes, of course. But then, yeah, the workplace, I think, is an important part. See, I reached out to someone at work. He also reached out to his business partner. I think the family, especially sisters, are very useful, as I see. I mean, most of us have spoken to sisters, right? So being, being very, very close to my sister, that really is something to celebrate. Three cheers for sisters. Okay, yeah, so that was that is something very, very heartening to hear, that we did turn to some of our relatives, whether our children liked it or not, and, you know, we felt compelled to share at least a little glimpse. Though I didn't know anything, because my child didn't tell me that she was going through this. Okay, I found out. That's a different matter altogether. She told me years later. Okay, so that's a funny story altogether, because she was, I guess, struggling with her own secret. So she was not able to comfortably tell me. So there are these stories and stories, you know, all of us have such different backgrounds to share. I just want to ask to all of the panelists this one question, that what makes you now, after all of this is over, the hurly-burly is kind of done, what makes you proud about yourself and or your child?
निष्ठा का जो बोलती है ना, मैं मीन्स वुमन, ट्रांस वुमन हूँ, और मैं आगे जाके मेरा करियर बनाने वाली हूँ, तो मेरे को भी लगता नहीं, ये कुछ तो हाई लेवल का ही वो सोच रही है, वो आगे जाके कुछ ना कुछ बन सकने वाली है ऐसा। और अभी तो मैं देखती हूँ ना, उसका सब जो घर में उसका रहना, ऑफिस जाना, जो ये है ना, वो एक अच्छी तरह की लेडी करके ही उसको सूट होता है, उसकी पर्सनालिटी अच्छी तरह होती है ऐसा। और वो बहुत सारा सोशल वर्क, ये ऐसा काम भी थोड़ा करती है सोशल वर्क में, और ज़्यादा करके वो बोलती है, मम्मा देख, मैं जैसी है ना, ऐसा सबको मेरे को बनाने का है।
We are also very proud of Nishtha. Yes, so just like you, we are also very proud of Nishtha for who she is and what she does. She's really an example to the community. Yeah.
Yes.
So now I would like each of you to please respond. Rakesh is here on my virtual screen right next to me. So I'm asking you, Rakesh.
So Nilakshi, I don't know if there is anything that I can say makes me proud, because accepting a child is the least that a parent can do, and that's the only thing that I have done. So
no, how are you proud about the child also? Child and you say together as a unit.
Yeah. So, but definitely, yes. I think the way Ria has metamorphosed into such a personality that she is today is something that really makes me proud. I mean, it is also because she got good mentors in her life, and so she's doing a lot of good work. So she's doing a lot of social work. She's excelling in her studies. She's doing TED Talks and whatever she's at, as Aruna Desai mentioned, that if parental acceptance is there, it naturally, the child gets full expression. And when the child gets full expression, the child can actually excel in whatever it wants to do.
Very nice, very nice. We are also very proud of Ria and her articulation, especially. Mukunda Mala, what makes you proud of your child?
So I'm proud of myself and my daughter both. Why? Because we came out immediately. We were not in closet. The moment we realized, immediately we never waited for even for a few days like that. We came out and we were sharing with everybody. And she's also doing she's doing her PhD in gerontology. One of her papers is on LGBT. And when she was here also, she was doing a lot for this community. So I am also she was a very active person here when she was here as a guest. Then I also became a member in Human Library. And through Human Library, I visited many MNCs, institutions, everything. I could bring a lot of awareness in the society.
Yeah. Good. This is something really worth emulating.
Then I'm doing counseling for children and parents also. From different places, internationally, nationally also I'm doing that.
Yes. Okay. Aruna, your moment of pride, or what makes you proud of you and Abhishek? Together, separately, as a unit, whatever.
Yeah. So I'll say is that when Abhishek came out, that till that time I did not know anything about homosexuality. So I was when he said that I was not like ignorant. I never said that just because I don't know, there is nothing like that and I cannot accept. It was not like that. I was not ignorant and I wanted to learn about it. Because I did not know, so I wanted to learn about it, and I went on learning, not only from Abhishek, then from internet, books, and everywhere. And then later on, after some years, I met Harish, and since then, whenever I want to find out something, I always contact Harish. So that I am proud of. That the thing which I did not know, I immediately accepted because he is my child, and that unconditional love is always there. So that one thing I'm proud of. And Abhishek, I'll say that he at the age of 17 he came out. So I am really super proud of him for I mean I don't advise other children to do that, get financially independent and then come out. But I'm proud of him for what that at that time, because there was Section 377, he never wanted me to get news from someone else. One, and second, that blackmailing and all extortion and happened, so that he never wanted to get done that with himself. So he decided, and that he took a risk. Of course, I'm the always accepting parent that he knew, but still he took that risk. So I'm proud of that, what he did. That's
okay. Thank you, Aruna.
I have to say, like all of you, I am very proud of my kid because he's just my kid and he's amazing. He's bright, he's beautiful, he's so loving and so kind. So that's one of the things that I am really proud of with our relationship is that we both try to practice radical honesty with each other, and it can be very uncomfortable at times because sometimes we all have like difficult things that we experience, that we feel emotionally as well. And both of us, I think, have really made an effort to move past that discomfort and talk about things that, really bother us about each other. And that's the way that the relationship can actually move forward, because otherwise, the way that I grew up, I was always hiding things from my parents. You know, I love my parents. I really like enjoyed that relationship, but I was always hiding. And this was nothing to do with, you know, my sexual orientation. I think just in general, I would hide. So what I really am proud of about Leo's and my relationship is that we don't hide from each other.
Wonderful. So nice to hear these stories, and you are all shining and, you know, brimming with pride. I think I need to add my two penny bit and then ask Harish also what is the what he thinks he is proud of, and maybe his mother and his family are proud of in this space, in this LGBTQIA space that we have carved for ourselves. I'm also super proud of my daughter's achievements as an activist, and I wish she could do more. I am definitely proud of her, again, you know, insight, patience, tolerance, and sensitivity towards us as a family, to give us that space and that time to gradually accept this community, the many signals she has given, the many chances that she has given, the trust that she has placed on us to understand her and her community. I think that is something which I am very, very proud of. I would never have understood anything about the community if she had kept us out. She could have done that, you know, but she didn't do that. So for letting us in, I think that's the very, very big thing that makes me proud, that she has let us in that world which she had inhabited for quite some time.
I just wanted to say that it is so incredibly important to find acceptance. And the reason why we are able to blossom and we are able to be who we are is because of parental acceptance. It has a major role to play.
Would Padma like to add? Padma, what makes you super proud of Harish?
Well, as a child, when I saw him, he was such an introvert child, and I used to always worry when he grows up, how he's going to be, how he's going to face the society, how he's going to face the world, because he will never go and open the door. He was that timid child. And today when I see him, he's a different man. And that makes me really proud.
Is also your mother. So yeah, introvert child to you know, someone center stage. Very important influence in my life as well. My you know, work partner, and we share an activist space, small one, but we share it. We work together on a project related to students. Now we turn to Mukunda Mala and her story. I think all of us have told our story at some point, so Mukunda Mala would definitely like to share her story of acceptance.
So mine has 2 stages. When from the beginning he was having that dilemma. He was unique, but being a child, he know only he and she. Okay, he couldn't express anything to me, so he was watching himself. And when he was in the degree first year, that is MBBS first year, that time I asked him, see, we had lot of problems, put you in baby care, everything. So these things, you know, should not happen. You should not struggle with your wife, the children, everything. So I'll perform your marriage as soon as you finish your MBBS. Then, you know, give birth to 1 or 2 children. Again, you can go ahead for further studies. Then he started, Mama, you are having high ambition. Then he said, this is not a high ambition. Then he said, Mama, don't plan anything for marriage. This will not work out. Then he thought, this lady is having high ambition. Let me cut her ambitions. Then he started, you know, that time I don't know anything, 100% illiterate. I don't know anything about LGBT. Then he thought, you know, being a working woman, she must be knowing. So he started showing boys, you know, when he was driving for me to drop me in office, he used to show me boys. He used to say his eyes are good, nose is good, handsome, like that. I thought, you know, anybody can admire any gender. That was going on, that was not stopping. Then I said, why are you showing only boys? Why are you not showing girls? I can do something. Then he said, I don't like girls, I like only boys. That time also I couldn't realize, because, you know, I am illiterate in the subject. Then he thought, okay, I'll have to, you know, educate her. Then one Sunday we sat together, because we were very good friends also, not only mother and child, good friends. So then he said, Mama, why don't we sit and chat? Then one Sunday we are discussing. Then he said, Mama, I want to share something important to you. Then I said, what is that? Then he said, Mama, I am gay. And I said, what is gay? Then he said, Mama, I don't get attracted to opposite sex. I'll get attracted to same sex. I said, what are you talking? Are you joking? Then I said, no, Mama, people are there. Then he explained to me LGBTQ, everything. Then immediately that trauma was going on. I'm not bothered about the society immediately. My botherization, oh, we'll not get married. But that time I don't know about this partnership, same-sex marriages, everything. So my worry was, oh, you'll have to be alone throughout. Nobody will be there. Then I said, end of the day, you are my son. I'm going to be with you. Then I said, medication is advancing. Science is advancing. So we'll work out on that. Mama, wherever you want me to take, I'm ready to come. Then he took me to psychologist. There she confirmed, yes, you'll have to be with that. Then after coming home, nights I used to read on internet. That I did it for 1 month. Then I made my mind, I set my mind, yes, I'll have to be with this. Then I shared with my husband. Right. I thought he is also illiterate, but he knows about this. Then he said, what will you do? You cannot do anything. Don't tell him anything. Just keep quiet. Let it go like that. That's how he came out. Then immediately when he came, I shared with my friends in my office next day. Then slowly, immediately he wanted to come out. That is, medical college, very conservative college. I asked him to wait till he come out. He came out in the year 2011. Immediately started coming out. Then we started in Hyderabad. We started Pride also in the year 2012. So from then we are part of Pride every year. Then I didn't hide it. Then I started telling in my office. Then they said, okay, Mala, your son is a gay. Why do you want to come and say everything? It's not with any bad intention. They thought, we'll have to face society. Then he said, when he got MBBS seat, I came and shared with you all. So why can't I share this? Nothing wrong in that. We are not. We don't want to hide. We don't want to live in closet. Then I said, okay, you can come out, but be careful. That's how we started coming out. We didn't wait for long. Then when he started working in his office, everybody was appreciating. However you want to live, please live. Like that, we both came out to the society. And since then, immediately, those days, many children were under the pressure. So they started coming to me and talking to me. Like that, I gave them a lot of support. I saved many lives also from suicidal tendency, like that. So recently, because he was not comfortable, he said he was a gay, but he was not comfortable with whatever he was. Then he identified himself recently in the year 2018. Then he came to India. That time he said, Mama, I think I'm a trans. Am I doing anything wrong? He started crying. I said, don't cry. You know your body. You know your mindset. However you want to live, live. I'm with you. Even that, I don't want to hide anywhere. Immediately, I just started telling to few people, not within immediate families. Immediate families, recently only I came out. From my husband's side, many people, they spoke badly. And somebody said, we don't allow your daughter, you can come to my house. I said, when you don't allow my daughter, we are not coming to your house. Okay. Like that. One of my brothers, he said, either you go to America, otherwise you get him here and get him married. I said, it's my right. Wherever I want to live, I live. Wherever I want my son to his studies, it's mine. I got every right. So you not to tell me. So now I'm not expecting any acceptance. Why should I expect any acceptance? Yeah. Why? You want to live like this, we live like this. The same way, my daughter also having a lot of problems after she is doing her PhD. Even there, transphobia is there. But if mother is standing beside the child, they can conquer the world. So like that, she is also able to manage everything. My family, everybody, they accepted. You not to expect any acceptance from us. She's our child. Whether she's coming as a girl or boy, we are there with her. That's how our story we started. I'm also open to society.
Beautiful, beautiful story. Lovely story. Exemplary family from your side. There are different kinds of families. So some accept, some don't. It's all right. Those who accept, we are with them. Those who are not accepting today, we hope that they will accept later. That's the only approach.
Them. I'm educating them.
Yes,
that is my immediate family.
Job.
So half of them accepted. Half of them accepted.
Our job is to educate.
Yes.
Our job is to be patient, to educate, to change, transform minds, and especially to lead where others fear to tread, because we have already, traveled that little distance, maybe a little ahead of them in some aspects. So I think that's the way it is. Now, I have 3 questions which I would like anyone from you to respond. Okay, these questions are one question is, any of you would like to comment on in the panel your first experience of any community event that you have attended?
After Abhishek came out, just next month there was a Gay Bombay parents meet in January 2008. So when I went there, I saw for the first time so many children over there, and few parents were there. That time Padma and Harish was there already, and only few parents, and along with them I was there. And there I saw that it was a beautiful experience. Even though children, there were so many children, they were like, had a trouble accepting them, so they were crying and all. But what I saw there was so much of love, from children, from parents, and there is no one to judge you. That one thing is so good, and wherever, that is the first, but every time whenever I went, you get that kind of love, and people don't judge you, for anything at all, how you look or how you speak or anything for that matter. So that, and then I'll say after in 2008 only the Pride started. So there I went for the first time. So there also I saw, they do the makeup and everything, and nobody to judge you, So that
Thank you
experience
so
I
much.
can tell you.
Beautiful, very nice insights, which I will also share, because nobody is asking me, I'm asking myself, that my first experience of a shared community space was when I went to Humsafar Trust to watch the play Ek Madhav Bagh. And that's where the whole thing, came alive to me, that what is this community all about? Again, that sense of warmth, acceptance, unconditional love, and just seeing a parent and seeing Koni's mother. I mean, almost unknown people coming up to me and hugging me and talking to me and, saying that I've heard so much about you. You're so loving, auntie, I love you. I was absolutely zapped, It is a very different kind of a space which immediately accepts you, no holds barred. That is something which I really admire about this community. And I think that is the, priceless treasure that this community has given me as a person, and has opened my eyes to this whole world of loving everybody without, any bias, any judgment. I'm sure we have come with all kinds of biases, through our several types of backgrounds. But this community has educated me in this way, with that first exposure to them, that, it could be such a lovely space. It could contain everybody and everything, every being within its folds. So that was a unique experience for me also. Yeah. So then the other question which I had was, are any of you at any point a little unsettled or insecure about your queer child's future? If you are, then why? If you are not, then why? Would you like to answer? Yes, please.
So being a trans woman, there is insecurities there.
Yes.
Either here, even yes. So for that, I'm worried.
All right.
Okay. So here, we don't have any civil rights, fundamental rights. Why? See, they are also human beings. They are also citizens. So what our constitution has given our fundamental rights, civil rights to all citizens of India. So they are also citizens of India. Why? Why are they not getting these rights? That is my question here. And abroad, yes, also, recently they removed their rights. They have removed their protection. They removed their funds. How do they survive? So insecurity is there always. For other people is okay. For trans community, that insecurity is there. Moreover, here in India, I attended many things, attended murder cases, went to police station, went to mortuary, everything. So many cases are taking place even in Hyderabad. That insecurity is there. For that, we are working out.
Right. So, there are things that we have to work for. Everything is not hunky-dory. Everything is not very pleasant. We still have a lot of things to change, is what I wanted to alert people about. That's why I asked this rather uncomfortable question. Some of you might have wondered why I was asking this when I was projecting a very secure and a happy and a confident image of the community. Well, there are underlying currents. Rakesh wanted to say something. Rakesh, you wanted to say something? Yeah.
So, see, for anyone to, any individual or any family to kind of live happily, it's important that, it's not only their survival, but they should also be given the opportunity to thrive. So for the children, of the community. So for example, for my daughter, while she has got parental acceptance, she has not got, or she has got acceptance from, her uncles and, those who are, kind of related to me personally, professionally, but she is still not got a social acceptance. So therefore, and that's very important, you can't, a man is, an individual, a human being is considered to be a social animal, and you can't really live in isolation. And therefore, while parental acceptance is fundamental, it is also social acceptance is another very important thing for anyone to, kind of live happily and, kind of thrive. And so therefore, when she goes out, while at her home, there is complete acceptance of her as well as her partner, and, both of them come and then they live here. They, Maria goes to her place and lives there for weeks. But then when she goes out, I definitely have that sense of insecurity or that sense of fear, because she has come and she has told me a lot of times that people stare at her when she holds Sanjana's hands and walks around. And in fact, there was this recent incident, where she, when she got down at the Chhatrapati Shivaji Terminus station and she wanted to go to the washroom, she was not allowed by and there was a lady who was manning the washroom, and that lady was not allowing her to go to the ladies section of the washroom. These kind of things, unless and until we gain social acceptance, unless and until the laws are, not changed and they become, kind of non-discriminatory, this kind of an insecurity definitely is going to be there somewhere at the back of, our parent minds.
Thank you so much, Rakesh, for sharing this rather intimate story. And in this context, I want to ask about your opinion of where we are headed to in terms of Sweekar, and where do you see yourself in Sweekar in a few years' time? Anybody?
Aruna, she was mentioning about, children coming out after once they are financially independent. So to my knowledge, I want to share my opinion, whether it is right or we can decide. So what my opinion is, child should not wait till he become, independent financially. What will happen when the child comes up to his level, at the age of 27, 28 like that, parents, they'll have their own dreams. Instead, what I'll say, depending on parents' situation, slowly they'll have to come out. Slowly they'll have to try to teach, like Abhishek, how he did for Aruna, the same way, somewhere or other. Slowly, at least one seed, like, Mama, I'm not interested in getting married. Something they'll have put it in their mind so that they start thinking about that. Suddenly, at the age of 28, 27, it's very, very tough for any parent to take it. That's one. So coming to Sweekar.
That's a valid point.
Yeah, coming to
very valid
Sweekar, coming to Sweekar, this is amazing platform. We already succeeded. I'm also member of from the inception. Before we started this group, I was, we were a group of people, Chitra, me, Padma and all. But today, if you think, we started with, 8 members, 6 members.
Yes.
Today, we have so many parents at that. We are already succeeding, We are doing, they already conducted training programs also for Sweekar members. I am very unfortunate. I couldn't take that training, though I am doing a lot of activities in Hyderabad. But good training they have conducted to all parents. Then I think I'm very sure this Sweekar will take it, further till will fight for our fundamental rights, civil rights, same-sex marriage, for everything. I'm sure Sweekar will fight for it.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Now, Aruna Rao, would you like to add where you see, these activist groups, whether it is PFLAG or whether it is Desi Rainbow Parents? How do you see yourself in a few years' time, in future? And what is the role that you would be probably playing, if you want to comment on that?
Yeah, so
I think
my vision of the future would be that we don't need any of these groups. That essentially there is, you know, your child is, and my vision, absolutely. And my vision is that the child doesn't need to come out. That there is no need, like, you know, heterosexual and cis kids don't have to come out saying, I'm cisgender, I'm heterosexual. I want our children not to have to come out. So that would be the vision of the future that I see. In the near future, as Mala's pointing out, and I think there's a really huge need for legislation and equal rights. In India, in the United States, as Mala also pointed out, we are going through a very dark period, particularly for trans people, where the federal government is essentially like trying to strip away the humanity and the identity of trans folk. So I think it's really important to do these, have these legislations passed so our children have equal rights under the law. I think in terms of what Sweekar is doing, I think it is beautiful to see the expansion. I would love to see Sweekar move from the metro areas into small towns, into villages. I frequently talk to people who are like, yeah, no, my parents live in the small town in Punjab, or, you know, basically my parents are from a small town in Karnataka. So there's a sense of like visibility in the metro areas, which I think is really important and very, you know, like obviously you're doing such an amazing job, but to get into the places where these kids don't have what's called a possibility model. They have no options for seeing somebody like themselves, or somebody, or the families don't have any options of seeing people, you know, who have kids like theirs. So that really would be a great goal. For me personally, in terms of working with the immigrant community in the United States with Desi Rainbow Parents and Allies, I first of all would like to see this become a standalone organization. At this point, we're still affiliated with PFLAG. So I hope to take it as an organization into a standalone organization. I also think that working with our immigrant community, I think many of you in the metro areas in India will be surprised. Our immigrant communities are far more worried and scared than people like you, parents like you who live in metro areas in India. Because we are carrying our ideas from when we immigrated, you know, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 40 years ago. So we are very worried about the reactions of our community here. Even though, you know, legally there are obviously far more rights that our children have access to. So I would like to see our immigrant community really step forward and really be like very, as Mala's talking about, you know, just be completely accepting of their children and not wait for their children to come out. And the last thing that I want to say is that I find it very, very heartening, and I'm hoping this is going to happen more and more with relation to gender identity. My child expressed himself very early on at like 4 or 5 years old and told me actually that this is who I am. I didn't have the education or the knowledge or the ability to understand what his gender identity was, because I was like, oh, he's a tomboy. That was my interpretation. What I see now is young mothers and young parents are able to look at their child's gender expression and say, oh, okay, so my child is expressing that their gender may be different from the sex assigned at birth. So that is a huge, huge step. So what I want to see is younger people, younger parents being able to recognize what their child's gender identity is and to support the child from a very early age.
Wonderful. I think you sounded a note of caution and warning. And as a person who has done a lot of study on migration and on migrated communities and their writing, my subject being literature, I'm aware of the kind of closed communities that you live in abroad. You know, I understand fully that there might be hesitation, there might be difficulty in sharing these kinds of stories of identities or these kind of identities openly in slightly closed communities, even abroad, and that it's not strange to find the kind of reaction that you are expressing. I have come across many of these stories, many of these lives, which suggest that indeed sometimes these communities can be repressive. They can be regressive also.
Nilakshi, I wanted to kind of opine on the last question that you asked about the work that Sweekar needs to do. So first of all, I think it's a wonderful platform, that we have, because see, the struggle or the fight for the 377, for striking down 377 was predominantly fought while there would be, I mean, I know that there were, there were petitioners like Chitra and, there were some parents who did petition for 377 being struck down, but then predominantly the fight was fought by the community themselves. They did not really have, the support of allies. And I personally very strongly believe that the onus of inclusion lies by those who are included. And आगे का जो लड़ाई है, which is basically the fight for, equal rights, it is extremely important that this fight, if it has to be won and if it has to be taken up with momentum, it is important that the allies, which include the parents, come together and make the, the government realize that it is not only a minuscule community that is fighting for these rights. It is, I mean, the sheer size of the whole force, which includes the community, the children and the parents and their related allies, should become so huge, that so big and so profound, that the government is left with no option but to realize that this is a big community, and therefore we have to give them the rights that they are asking for. And I think that's why it is extremely important that platforms like Sweekar have to be there, and we have to galvanize, quickly galvanize support of parents, from across urban and rural areas of the country.
So,
very important things pointed out by the last few speakers. The fact that, all is not well, even though we need to dispense with the organizations like Sweekar in some time, probably we are not yet ready. Our job is not done until we become more inclusive as an organization. We access, the hinterland, the Hindi speaking, and the, the interiors of India, the rural areas, the districts and the small towns. Until we reach out to them and, they become part of the movement, we definitely have to work on. We have a long way to go.
Sweekar is going, and that my vision is like Aruna Rao said, that there should not be, the whole more and more parents get sensitized, and the awareness spreads. So there will not be any group like this Sweekar is required, So that one thing is.
As many of you know, I accepted my child in 1993. And there was this one question when I felt like answering, what are you proud of her and of yourself? And I just felt, I'd like to say it in 2 sentences. I'm proud of her because in 1993, there was no information, there was nothing. And at that time when she came out, she had studied from whatever she could lay her hands on. She thought about it and she became confident herself, and then she came to me. So she asked for my support, but she was already confident at that time. She was young. At that time, she had just completed 21. And since then, I've always seen her so confident that she is a part of LGBTQIA community, and yet it seems like she's not. She's just like everybody else. And I wanted to say this. I wondered why it is. Here she has worked in Catholic colleges. She taught in Sophia. She taught in Xavier's. And all her colleagues and all her students knew she was a lesbian. Her partner, Christine, was also staying here at that time with me. And nobody minded. Sister Ananda even comes now to visit her. And I was just thinking, why is it so? And I felt because she is absolutely confident about herself. So I would say to all the parents that if you accept your child and encourage that child to be confident of their identity, they would also be like that. That's one thing. And I'm only proud of myself. I'm proud of myself for many reasons. But one important thing is that though Shalmali was accepted by everybody, and there was frankly, though, no need at all for me to, go. She doesn't even stay with me. I live here alone. But I went because I just felt that it was not enough for me that my family, my child, we are happy. I just wanted everybody else to be happy too in the same way. And that is the reason I go whatever I can. I'm not very techno savvy, but I try and talking to people initially, and I signed that Supreme Court, parents petition, gave a lot of talks to mainstream people and all these things only because my dream is exactly as Aruna Rao and then Aruna Desai said, I've been saying it for many years, that one day Sweekar, Humsafar will not be needed. And Sridhar will, of course, have film festivals, which will have LGBTQIA films as well as mainstream films, and other films will have LGBTQIA films. That is my vision.
Amay, when he came out to me, what I felt that he was very confident about his sexual identity. He was very sure. He has made it very sure. But when I found out that Amay is gay, that time he was so sure. He was only wanting the acceptance of the family, acceptance of the parents. Once he got it, he started excelling in everything in his business and in every field of life. He started excelling. So I was happy with that change in his life.
Yeah, hello everyone. I'm Sushma Dhankar here. My son came out to me back in 2018 April. He was 21 then, and he was doing his third year IIT computer science, and he was in hostel at that time. And one fine day in April, he sent a message to us that, Mom, Dad, I want to say something to you, that I'm not your son, I'm your daughter. And then he said that I'm not able to say anything. If you don't accept me, I'm going to jump out of the window of my room. And we were in shock. We didn't know anything about it. And quietly through messages, because he was not ready to talk, and he was already battling depression for 4 months. So we thought ki ab kare kya iske liye. Us waqt it was a big shock to us. Didn't know anything. I called him up and I asked, beta, what is all this? And you don't worry, whatever you are, we are there with you, and we will always be your parent, your son or daughter or whatever, but tell me more about it. And he was crying non-stop. He was having panic attack, and I didn't know anything about all these things, panic attack or whatever. But slowly, gradually after that, we try to educate ourselves about transgender issues and all that. And through videos, through internet, I Googled a lot, and I was afraid all the time. I was afraid that how will I go about in the society? How will I tell my relatives? Because we had no clue about these things. For me, being transgender was what I saw at the red lights. And I was really in a lot of fear. मेरा इतना अच्छा इंटेलिजेंट बच्चा अगर ऐसे है तो मैं क्या करूं? But by like 4-5 months down the lane, I educated myself. I watched a lot of videos. First video was Amir Khan's Satyamev Jayate, and I was so proud of Ghazal Dhaliwal, and I was really impressed and inspired by her story. And then along came so many others, like there's a girl, Trinetra from Manipal. So I could identify with those people because somehow the background was similar. The kids were really intelligent and they did very well in their exams and all that. Then I could understand that it's fine. Whatever she's going through is fine, and you have to accept your child. And now there's no looking back. I'm all for my daughter. And That's all. This is my first experience talking to somebody, and first meeting on Sweekar, and no more things to say. Probably later on I'll be able to say more.
Ananya, my daughter, she came out to us when she was 26, and when Mukunda was saying that they need to tell it earlier, I think knowing that, she knew her mind probably made it easier for us. Not easy for her, I'm sure. But she said that she's come out as lesbian to us when she's been working in the US. She's been there, she's done her MS there. She was always a different kid, but we never suspected anything or never thought. Like now when I listen to all of you, I learn so much. And yeah, we, like others said, accepted her unconditionally, but very traditional conservative family, educated but conservative nevertheless. And yeah, I've been talking, my sisters know more. Probably that taught me the biggest lesson in my life is that you lose people. And I think accepting her was like it's been 22 years, and the loss of my sister hits me like something in my heart even now. So I think just being there for your kid, it makes a lot of difference, like Harish was saying. I mean, I can see the child. She's just 28. She's going to be 28, and she was on a panel for the Black Lives Matter for South Asians, and she was the youngest there at 28. Others were emeritus professors and all that. And you feel so proud to see that just because she has the backing, it's not just in the LGBT community, but it is about everywhere where there is some kind of unfairness, and she is educating us every day. Today I get a video about why, what's her name, the Harry Potter, J.K. Rowling's, why is her statement wrong? And I get a 55-minute video, and she tells me, watch this today. So I get homework every day as to how I should be and how I should go forward. So I think, yes, I'm very proud of my child. And yeah, I'm not proud of myself as of now. I need a long way. I'm on my way.
Hi, everyone. I've been here long, but haven't been active. I just came out of Oman, and that was a big repatriation, getting a flight back. So I'm sorry I've not been so involved this month because I was going through my own difficulties. So anyway, what I have to say first, and I know it for sure, that these children are born to special parents. So I know we are special. And I know I don't have anything else very different from all your stories. But I will tell you this one thing. My children did their schooling in Europe, and this school in Prague was a beautiful school. So when I got to know of my son, he was in grade 11 and he was like 17. So fortunately for me, there were 5 teachers openly gay in that school. And when I looked at those teachers, and the rest of the community did, they were just stunning and way above the rest. And I asked my principal once, what is it about them? And she said, Sushila, they have a perspective none of us will ever have. And that's what I would like to share with you. They have a perspective, they have a gift that none of us will ever have. And they are special. So that's what I want to tell you, that these kids are indeed special. We have to know it in our core, and I know how special my Kevin is. He is a stunning, stunning kid. He was stunning when he was a 1-year-old, a 2-year-old, a 3-year-old. In fact, the whole station would ask, as we would move from one station to another, we are from the army, have you seen Major Lango's son? Have you seen Colonel Lango's son? And this is how people would talk. And I would not know what, because he would say the most very different things. I said, how is this little child able to say something so different from the rest of the world, a 3-year-old? And only when I got to know, I said, now I get it. So it is celebration, and I think we should not forget to celebrate. Leave alone accepting and all that, we must not stop celebrating. This is I would stop at that, God's gift.
You know, this is the same feeling I have when I teach writing by authors from a different sexual orientation. Their texts are filled with absolutely different insights, and this is what I keep telling my students when I didn't know about my daughter. This is what I used to keep telling them, that this is a different perspective, enriching, so enabling, because they are different people. They have a different sense of thinking, which you and I probably are limited in certain ways. So this is something which I also wanted to share. And cheers for this spirited, very, very spirited, expression of Sushi.
My story is actually resembles Mala Madam's story. So my son went to US and he did all the transition thing, and he sent me all the YouTube videos, and he educated me actually. And she's a very beautiful daughter nowadays. Of course I will accept her, but I'm scared of, even in US, she's bullying, etc. happens in US and even in India. So we have to go long. We will try to become nice persons afterwards.
Thanks
I'm
a lot.
talking about, I'm talking for the first time.
Thanks a lot. Really appreciate you joining in. Uttara Jadhav.
It's wonderful hearing all of you. I have met some of you, not all. I am new to the group. My son came out to me 7 years ago, and we are friends. We are very happy together. And when I hear people not accepting their children, I almost want to go to their homes and shake them, what are you doing, and that's my reaction. I want to create a group in Pune who would support parents, because this not acceptance stuff is something beyond my mind. Like, how can you not accept your own child? That's my thought. So I have long way to go. I'm observing all of you. You have done amazing work, and you all are my inspiration. So thank you very much for that.
Thanks a lot. Really appreciate.
We were parents to an amazing daughter. And, when she came out, it was a huge shock to our system. Not because she's trans, but because we knew that there are going to be challenges ahead. And although challenges have come and they will continue to come perhaps for some more time, but we are proud of her. She's an amazing child, gifted, and I'm sure the transition as it proceeds further, she will come to terms with the mental health aspect and really outshine everyone else around. So we are proud of our daughter, and the initial hiccups we faced, the initial challenges we faced, have made us better parents, significantly better parents than we ever were before, and also very proud parents that we have a child who has educated us and introduced us to this entire spectrum of amazing people. So that's been the story so far, and we are learning. We are traveling. We're going on the journey along with her, and it's been absolutely amazing. Initially, yes, there was a shock to our system because we knew there will be challenges, and our child may have some significant challenges up ahead, and there have been, and there will be perhaps even more. But I guess the journey, the education has been worth everything we have seen so far.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate you sharing. Nilakshi's husband, Subrato, you want to share something, please?
I mean, many of you I know, and some others we have not met. Maybe subsequently we will sometime, definitely. Yeah, we are parents to a bisexual child. Our daughter, Poninika, is also an activist now. I mean, for many years she has been an activist. So for me, it was about 5 years back that I came to know about this. And it was done in a little dramatic fashion by Poninika and her friends. It was on the eve of Holi that they came and, tried to invite a good number of friends at our house. And I just took it as new friends who have come there, until I was during the day exposed that who they were and why this whole gathering. I will definitely be very honest. It took me a lot of time to come out of my own closet. I like many parents here must have felt that you first blame yourself, find fault with it, and this, that, the other. But then at the end of it, there was one thing which was very clear, is that she is my child. She is our child, and we cannot but love her. Whatever she is, we have a unconditional love for her. Whatever she wants to do, whatever she thinks she is, her identity is what it's for her to express, and we will accept it. So it took a little while, but then this thing was always there, that whatever she is, she is my child. So that thing very clear. We went on our journey, and I suppose that, as someone mentioned just now, that it's a journey that we have to tread along. So we are also treading along. I mean, it's every bit of it is getting unfolded now, and we hope that it has been very beautiful till now, and we expect that it is going to be very nice later on as well. And we have met some lovely and very nice people, some of our friends, some of, as Nilakshi was saying, some of the people who are so creative. I mean, in the community, there is Sridhar there, who I know that many of you may be knowing about him, but there are so many facets about this man, like Harish Iyer, and so many of them. They are all having a different dimension to their personality, which is really worth praising and worth being a part of that journey as well as a parent of another child. So I'm very happy to be with you, and I wish you all the best, and wish you well in the future.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. Renu, there's a question from an audience member. Basically, what does a parent do when they realize their young child communicating gender dysphoria or refusal to adhere to cis identity? Your daughter does not adhere to cis identity. So what does a parent do? How do you manage to accept, I mean, especially the cis identified people are the norm. So when somebody says that I do not want to identify as in the same cis identity. So what's your story on that?
I think when Ria was small, I'll just share my journey. When Ria was small, she was, very particular about choosing her clothes and toys. And she was like, she used to always go to the men's section to buy the clothes. And she used to play cricket and football and get hurt and all those bruises and all. So a tag was given to her that she is a tomboy. And thankfully, we gave her a freedom ki, whatever you want to buy, however you want to dress up, you can do that. But I think we have to give the child the freedom to self-identify how they feel. And Ria, I think the journey, I think Ria also took time to understand, her gender fluidity, because I think probably she had some, she was not very comfortable with the periods and her breasts and all. I could see she's not very comfortable, and her clothing were also very masculine and things like that. But I think the most important thing is let the child, self-identify and give them the freedom to express themselves properly. Give them the freedom to, do whatever they want to do. So I think eventually, if you make the child comfortable, I think his journey or her journey will be much more easier.
Thanks a lot, Renu, for sharing this.
So I thought what was just said was very appropriate and really the best advice. But I also wanted to add one more thing that, you know, within our family, we protect and allow the child to have, to express their gender. However, there is an outside world that the child comes into contact with. And particularly if the child is very young, that outside world is not at all accepting and supportive. So we need to prepare our kid for what that reaction will be from school or college, I mean, depending on the age of the child, but particularly school-age children. We need to prepare our children for, those people will not understand, but it's okay because you're safe at home and we know who you are and you just continue being who you are. So I think that preparing the child for outside antagonism is very important.
Really appreciate that thought. Really important. So I just want to introduce the last panelist here, attendee per se, Padma Iyer, who along with Chitra Palekar were one of the front runners of the parent support group movement in India. Much before Sweekar started, Padma and Chitra have been leading the way and all the other parents have actually followed suit. So Padma Iyer, your thoughts, please. I'm saving the best for the last.
Yeah. Now, what I want to say is, as I saw my son blossoming, after my acceptance, he had already, he followed his path and he's on his way. So I wanted the other children also to have the same privilege. But then I saw that in the community, there are children who are not being accepted by their parents. I try to be like a parent to them, talking to them and trying to dispel their fears. And on this journey, I met many children whom I can say that I have given a lease of their life. Like many of them have spoken to their parents and they have accepted them. And so Bala is one of them, Balaji. And he had so much fear, he was always saying that his parents will not accept him. And in the course of so many talks and counseling him, finally they have accepted him. So same way, many children are there. And that's what I do, I feel. And Yash is another child who came here and stayed in my house. So I feel very proud of these children when they really blossom. So my journey, I feel, is fulfilled by seeing all these children happy.
Chitra, please go ahead.
I just want to say that I have seen all of you after 4 months and I can't believe this. And I've been alone here, but I've been knowing that all of you love me and I just want to thank you. Today's discussion was excellent. Nilakshi, you conducted it beautifully, and all the new parents, I said that since I'm not all the time on social media, I really cannot do it. It was very nice to see all your faces, Aruna, and today's Atul's wife. I'm sorry, I'm just a little emotional. It was wonderful to see you all, and I'm really hoping that we will go ahead with Sweekar in a much dynamic way. And thank you so much. Thank you so much for all these discussions.
Thank you.
Chitra, you're not alone. We're all here for you. You can just call whenever you want, Chitra. So please don't feel that you're alone. We're all here for sure. Just we're all a call away. Shamli is far away, but we're all here.
I mean, I'm talking about it for the first time to any this group as such. And though I could, I did accept my child as soon as this came out. My major issue here is that frankly speaking, I'm extremely, what could we call this, scared for her, that because, it's all okay, like in this kind of this group, it's all fine, but in case there is the outside place, the world may not really accept the child. That is my major, that has been my major, my, what can we call it, my
worry.
cause for concern has been that all the time. Though I do come from a naval background, I find that my own maybe naval friends may not really be able to take this fact, still have this thing in my mind that, how is the full thing going to take up at a certain point of time. The world as such, as we have to go, some way, a long way to accept, our kind of the people and our kind of the children. Though actually speaking, they are all great kids. I know that for sure. But this is the fear I have all the time in mind. That frankly speaking, that has been there all the time. Now also.
I can talk on this.
Yeah, please, Mukunda
I
Mala,
can talk
please.
on this.
Yeah.
See, I was, what is his name? Janaki husband. Just now he spoke, Janaki's husband. See, I'm telling you, why do you want to accept your friend circle or family's acceptance? First of all, I don't want to use acceptance. Why parents should accept?
No, like it is not
so
that.
support,
Basically,
support we can say. No, support we can say. What I'm telling you, you be proud of yourself. Okay, if you keep thinking about others, will not come out. So first, be comfortable with your child, with you. It will take time. It's not easy. It's not very easy. It is very, very tough. But if you keep thinking about others, family members, so they'll try to, come and focus. That's what I did it. That was my experience, I'm telling you.
Yeah,
Friends,
I do.
No,
yes.
No, friends, they started, keeping me away. See, mine is in a very conservative family. I'm the eldest daughter in my house, but still, I kept myself strong. Looking at me, they're not trying to keep me away. They're trying to learn from me. And they're coming too close to me now. Now they are come to what stage, you perform your daughter's marriage, wherever you perform, you come and attend. From that stage to this stage, I brought it because of our strongness, believe in our children. So definitely don't worry, don't keep that fear in your mind. Just go ahead with your daughter. They'll come and join you, definitely. Moreover, I'm telling you one thing, important thing. Our Indian society is a very beautiful society. Why they are being discrimination? Only because of unawareness. So it is our duty to bring awareness in the society. Bring awareness among your friend circle, among your people. Don't be in closet. Just come out and bring awareness, educate them. Definitely they'll come and support you. This is my opinion.
Thank you so much, Mukunda Mala. Really appreciate everybody's thoughts. I think I'm going to close this particular panel discussion because it's been 2 hours. But you people have been fantastic, So it's been such a huge thing. So thank you all, Sweekar parents, for joining in. There's been a wonderful panel discussion. And Harish, thank you for introducing the panel and being there. Nilakshi for moderating the panel. We're going to take Sweekar ahead. We go through KASHISH, through other platforms. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.